How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder. To recap, Week 12 in the NFL, another week has come and gone. Thanksgiving is upon us, and I'm going to try to do a special Thanksgiving episode. I'll do my picks for Thanksgiving. It was a brutal week in the spreads for me. I only won 3 games, so don't take advice from me from here on out. After I got off to a strong start this year, I really just fell off a cliff, and I don't know what to expect from teams week to week. But another week in the books has some takeaways. I don't want to go too long because I know sometimes with these recap episodes they tend to go very long, so I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. But some of my takeaways from this week, the Chiefs got a very big win over the weekend, kind of got themselves back on track with the win over the Colts. And with the Colts got off to a great start. And I still think this is a team that can make the postseason. But when I look at their schedule and the opponents that they have coming up, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because you have to take on the Texans twice. They still haven't played the Jaguars yet either. And I think those divisional games are going to be huge because you got those two teams breathing down your necks currently. So you can't really afford to slip up. And then you also have the Seahawks in there. I know the 49ers offensively didn't play well last night, but that's a team you still got to respect too. They're they're on the in the playoff bubble right now. They're currently the 7th seed in the NFC, but you still got teams behind them that are trying to get back in, like the Lions, for example. And then also the Cowboys, who picked up a big win over the Eagles over the weekend. They've kind of reinserted themselves into a bit of the playoff discussion, although I still think they're going to find themselves on the outside looking in, despite how well they've been playing these last couple of weeks. But yeah, when it comes to this Chiefs Colts game, it didn't get off to a great start for the Chiefs. They were behind pretty much the whole game, but they got stops in key moments, and they were able to kind of flip the page quickly on some mistakes as well. Kareem Hunt had a fumble in this game that was costly, but Patrick Mahomes and this offense they were able to get the job done. The defense was able to get stops, like I said. They were able to shut down this Colts offense, which, Jonathan Taylor, he really didn't do much in this game. And he's really the engine that drives this offense. And he is a good complement to Daniel Jones. That's why Daniel Jones has had such success this year, is because you've had a great running game with Jonathan Taylor. And when that goes away, you got to put the ball in Daniel Jones's hands. And, sometimes it doesn't really work out. So the Chiefs ended up winning the game. This game actually went to overtime. And the Chiefs were able to get the win, a walk-off field goal with Harrison Butker. And they were able to improve to 6-5 on the season. Big win for the Chiefs. So they're still on the outside looking in, but I still think this team is going to find a way to get to the playoffs. It's really hard for me not to see the Chiefs in the playoffs, but they might not make it. And the Colts right now, they're 8-3. Like I said, there's a chance maybe if they continue to slip up, that they don't make it. Like I said, they play the Texans twice. They play the Jaguars twice. You play the Seahawks in Seattle, which is not going to be easy at all. Seahawks are one of the best teams in the NFL. And then you got the 49ers. And you got to deal with Christian McCaffrey. So, and their defense, despite all the injuries, Robert Saleh has that defense playing well. So the Colts, I could definitely see them slipping up down the stretch here. So they lose, Chiefs win. Chiefs play on Thanksgiving. They'll be taking on the Cowboys, which is going to be an exciting game. Some very good games on Thanksgiving. Pretty good slate. And then you have the Black Friday game as well between the Bears and the Eagles. I think that also can be a very good game as well. But speaking of the Cowboys, they were down 21-0 to the Eagles. I thought this game was going to be a blowout. It was looking like it. And then Cowboys scored 24 unanswered points. Some crazy plays in this game, some turnovers, back and forth, and the Cowboys were able to get the win. And they've been playing some good football as of late, some inspiring football as of late because of the tragic loss of their teammate, who took his own life A very sad situation there. But the Cowboys have been able to rally, and they've looked good. I mean, defensively, the moves that they made, the defense has been improved, and especially against the Eagles, who are kind of going through their offensive funk, which seems to happen every year. The Cowboys did take advantage of it after the Eagles just seemed like they were just going to run up the score when they jumped out to that 21-0 lead. The Cowboys didn't waver. They were able to stay in it. Dak Prescott played really well in this game. Found George Pickens, who had an unbelievable game. CeeDee Lamb had some costly drops in this game, but they won. They were able to get the win. It really was an entertaining game. And again, it reinserts the Cowboys now into the playoff conversation. I still think, again, that they're going to find themselves on the outside looking in. But this is a big win. This is a big win for them. And looking at their schedule down the stretch here, they do take on the Chiefs, which is not going to be easy, but the Chiefs are not the juggernaut that they once were. I think the Cowboys have a good shot to win that game. Then you take on the Lions the following week, which I don't think is impossible either. The Vikings are vulnerable. The Chargers are going through some issues right now on the offensive line. That's a game they could win. They're at the Commanders, and then they're at the Giants. Cowboys could run the table. Now, is it going to be enough? We'll have to wait and see. But for the Eagles, though, I mean, it's fans have had it with the offensive coordinator. It's just this Eagles team. I mean, the last 3 weeks, they put up 10 points against the Packers, 16 against the Lions, and then they jumped out to a 21-0 lead, and those were all the points you scored. Now, they take on the Bears, which could be a tough game. The Bears have been playing really well, but they're at home, and the Eagles' defense is still pretty good, and I think that they have a good shot at winning this game. Then you got the Chargers the following week. But then you have the Raiders, the Commanders, you're at the Bills, and then you're home against the Commanders. So there's winnable games coming up. So the Eagles, look, they're going to win the division. However, now they're looking up at the Rams because the Rams now have taken over as the number one team in the NFC. And my prediction at the beginning of the year, I did have the Rams winning the Super Bowl. That still looks good right now. And now the Ravens have kind of turned it around. So there's a chance maybe that Super Bowl prediction ends up coming true. But yeah, the Eagles, look, I feel like they're going to figure it out. But it's got to happen soon because playoffs are around the corner. And the other thing, too, is they're not running the football as well as they did last year with Saquon Barkley. That has to change because Barkley was a big reason why the Eagles got to the Super Bowl, along with their defense and, of course, how Jalen Hurts played in the postseason. It was nice seeing A.J. Brown get more involved. He finally had a good game. But they need to get this running game going. They need a more balanced attack. Now, they're dealing with some injuries on the offensive line, so that's an issue. They got to get things together. So we'll see. But speaking of the Rams, I mean, they were all over the Bucs. I mean, this game was never close. I had a feeling this game was going to be lopsided. I mean, Matthew Stafford has had an incredible year. Right now, he is the front runner for MVP. He only has 2 interceptions on the season. I think he has, 27 touchdowns now? He's been out of this world. And that defense, I mean, it's one of the league's best. I mean, they made life tough on Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield left the game early with the sprained left shoulder. So his status is kind of up in the air for next week against the Cardinals. Now, it could have been a lot worse. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. It's not. And Baker's somebody that plays through anything. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw him on Sunday. But it wouldn't be the worst thing if the Bucs kept him out. But that NFC South has gotten a little dicey. It's definitely gotten a little dicey now. Because now the Panthers, I mean, they did lose last night. But they're in the conversation now to try to win this division. But yeah, it was an ugly loss for the Bucs, and Baker's kind of been playing through a lot of injuries, some injuries this season. He's gotten hit a lot, and he does put himself in harm's way, and that's how he plays. But yeah, ever since he's gotten hurt, even before the other day, this offense has kind of taken a bit of a step back. And is this the year that the injuries finally catch up to the Bucs? Because they've been able to weather the storm and still make the postseason, but now Baker's hurt, and without him, and if he's not playing at 100%, well, that's going to be a problem for the Bucs. But the Rams, they look like the best team in the NFL right now. The NFL is week to week, and sometimes, like the Eagles disappointing, the Lions have been disappointing. The Seahawks, I don't know how they gave up 24 points to the Titans. That was a game I really didn't watch. I mean, JSN continues to be amazing. He's been the best receiver in the NFL. Sam Darnold's playing good football. Vikings miss him with what's going on with the Vikings. The Rams are the best team in football. They're the most consistent. They're good every single week. They could beat you different ways. Right now, they got the 1 seed. It's going to be tough. Devontae Adams looks like how he did in Green Bay. Puka Nacua is amazing. The running game really wasn't a factor the other day, but Kyron Williams in that rushing attack is going to have better games down the stretch. And again, they're backed by a very good defense. So they are they're the favorites right now to come out of the NFC at this moment. So we'll see what happens there. Some other, like I mentioned, the Vikings and Sam Darnold. The Seahawks, like I said, I don't know how they gave up 24 points to the Titans. But the Vikings, whew. I had to bench Justin Jefferson this week. Now, it did pay off in some leagues. Well, I don't have Justin Jefferson in a lot of leagues. I only have him in one. But starting Michael Wilson in 3 leagues panned out, did well for me. But it's because I just don't trust this passing attack right now. And it's not because of Justin Jefferson. It's because of who's throwing him the ball. J.J. McCarthy. Again, continuing to overthrow guys. I mean, he was under pressure all day against the Packers. And now he's in concussion protocol. So who knows if he even plays on Sunday when they play the Seahawks. So it's a problem. Now, the Vikings are in a tough spot because, and we've talked about this, you have a roster right now that is ready to win right now. But at the same time, you have a quarterback that, if you do believe in him, yeah, if he's going through some struggles, you got to wait on it. But the Vikings can't afford to wait. They're a team that is ready to win right now. Last year, they won 14 games. And now you make the switch to J.J. McCarthy, you're a young guy, you have a team that's ready to win right now. And it just has not panned out. He hasn't been healthy, that's number one. But then when he has played, and he has been healthy, can't get the job done. And you got so many good players on this offense. And they can't make an impact because you can't get them the ball. And when you try to get them the ball, you turn the ball over. So I don't know what the Vikings are going to do. If they want to commit to J.J. McCarthy and they go into next year with him as a starter, okay. But it's going to be interesting if there's another option out there that maybe they say, we got to pull the plug on this. It's going to be very interesting. But yeah, it's been a very disappointing campaign for J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings. And I had this team winning the division, again, because I loved the roster and I trusted Kevin O'Connell. And I said, look, they got this team. They got the right coach. Yeah, there might be some growing pains, but you know what? J.J. McCarthy has got a lot around him. So he could be successful, and that success has not translated. Hasn't. But 3 of the 4 NFC North teams, have a shot. Right now the Packers and the Bears occupy playoff spots. The Lions are on the outside looking in. I didn't have the Niners making it this year. It's really the Vikings. If the Vikings don't make it, Lions end up passing the 49ers, I would have had every team right. Basically, almost every team. But we still got some ways to go. But yeah, J.J. McCarthy, yeah, has not been good. It's been so bad to the point where, again, I had to bench Justin Jefferson in a league. Like, Justin Jefferson has been able to produce with every quarterback that he's ever played with up to this point. And now it's J.J. McCarthy, who I guess was the one that he just can't be successful with. Because J.J. can't get him the ball. Can't get him the ball. But yeah, the Packers, they were very conservative in their play calling on offense. There was no Josh Jacobs on Sunday. Emmanuel Wilson ran the football for them and did a nice job. Packers get the win. You know, they're backed by their good defense, and they're going to need their defense to come up big on Thursday against the Lions. But yeah, the Packers, I really just don't see them doing anything. You know, if Jordan Love is just going to be a game manager, then they're not going to win anything. But part of the reason is because they had injuries. Offensive line, Tucker Kraft is out. You're missing some receivers. They should be getting Jaden Reed back, which would be huge. And we'll see if Jacobs plays on Thursday. But yeah, Packers are, if they make the playoffs, they're going to be one and done. At least right now. To me, that's what they look like right now. But speaking of the Lions, overtime win over the Giants. Jahmyr Gibbs, 200 rushing yards in this game. He was the key reason behind the Lions win. Lions defense struggled in this game. Jameis Winston played really well. Giants brought out some trick plays. I mean, the touchdown to Wan'Dale Robinson on the flea flicker, and then you also had Gunnar Olszewski throwing a touchdown pass to Jameis Winston, which I couldn't believe that. And Jameis talking about he'll do anything to help the team win. He'd play tight end. I mean, that was the exciting Jameis Winston quarterback plays that we like to see. And it had people around the NFL impressed by that. But then also, you know, Jameis throws a pick, which it happens. And once again, the Giants had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. And what happened? They lost it. And they end up losing in overtime. Jake Bates kicks a 59-yard field goal to tie the game. Jahmyr Gibbs takes it to the house. Lions get a stop on fourth down, and that's how the game ends. And on one of the drives, the first touchdown run that Jahmyr Gibbs had, I mean, it was after the Giants put together a good drive. Lions scored in a little over a minute. That's all it took. Giants defense has been a massive disappointment. Massive. And that is what has led now to Shane Bowen being let go. Relieved of his duties. He's been the latest to go now. So after Brian Dable was let go a couple weeks ago, Shane Bowen has now joined him as well. And I think it was long overdue. It should have been. This should have happened a while ago, but it happens now, and the Giants will now be searching for a new DC along with that. I mean, they're going to be looking for a whole new coaching staff, but Shane Bowen should have been gone earlier this season, so they make the right move there. Now, does that mean the defense is going to completely change and they're going to start playing better? Not necessarily. You know, because the other stuff, too, is it falls on the players, too, besides the coaching. But the Giants have been put in the similar situations all season where you have a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter and you can't hold on to it. Yeah, it falls on the players, but it falls at the feet of the coaching, too. And that's why Shane Bowen had to be removed. And that's what happened. So we'll see if anything changes now down the stretch with this Giants defense. But yeah, so they lose again. They're 2-10. They're not going anywhere. They're playing the Patriots. Jackson Dart could be back, so it'll be exciting to see him play down the stretch here, see what he's got. I like what I've seen out of Isaiah Hodgins. You know, he was someone that came out of nowhere in 2022, and they brought him back because the Giants very thin at wide receiver. And he's looked good. And I think he's somebody that they need to keep around going into next year also. But yeah, the Lions really weren't that impressive in this win, though. You know, they still look off. They don't look like the same team from last year. So yeah, they make the playoffs. Maybe they win a playoff game, but you know, if they got to go on the road, hostile environment, you know, I don't really see them going that far this year. They're another team I don't really see it. But speaking of another NFC, the NFC North, Bears picking up another win over the Steelers. They went 31-28. The Aaron Rodgers-less Steelers. He did not play because we haven't really talked since a couple weeks ago. But Aaron Rodgers suffered a slight fracture in his wrist, in his non-throwing hand. And he was really pushing to play because obviously he is an owner of the Bears. Not really, but you know what I mean. And he really wanted to play in this game, but they held him out. So Mason Rudolph got the start. And, some blown coverages. DJ Moore was left wide open on a touchdown. They ended up losing the game. They had an opportunity to tie the game late. There was a penalty that hurt them on the final drive that Aaron Rodgers saw, like that they were in the wrong formation and they got called for a flag. And, the Bears were able to get a fourth down stop. TJ Watt actually passed JJ Watt in career sacks. It was a sack fumble in the end zone that the Steelers picked up for a touchdown. But yeah, it wasn't enough. Steelers lose again. They're now 6-5, and now the Ravens have passed them in the NFC North. And it's looking like more likely that the Steelers are probably going to miss the playoffs and go 9-8, which I had them going 10-7. And yeah, it's not getting any easier because next week you play the Bills, you play the Ravens twice, the Lions are on the schedule. Not looking good for the Steelers. And they're already down to 2 starters going into the game against the Bills. I saw that Broderick Jones is out. And I don't know if it was Harmon? I think Harmon might be out. So that's not good. Now, the Bills' defense is not great. So if Rodgers comes back, should be able to move the ball against the Bills' defense. But is the Steelers' defense going to be able to stop Josh Allen? Not the Texans' defense that he's going to be going up against this week. And 10 days off, yeah, that's a problem for the Steelers. So they lose. And the Bears, hey, first place in the NFC North. How about that? I had them making the postseason. Didn't have them winning the division, but I had them making the postseason. And they are in a very good spot right now to do that. Caleb Williams is playing well. The defense, you'd like to see it play a little bit better. But right now, hey, you take it. Ben Johnson has done a very nice job so far in his first year. But obviously, he would tell you that he wants it to be even better. So he's not satisfied. So there was that game. I'm trying to think of what else. The Jets and the Ravens. So speaking of the Ravens, they play on Thursday. Lamar Jackson has not looked great since coming back from injury. He's still playing hurt. Game was pretty close between them and the Jets, but the Ravens did just enough. And speaking of the Jets, they did bench Justin Fields. Tyrod Taylor got the start. Gave you a Tyrod-esque performance. But I want to say this. Give props to the Jets. They traded Michael Carter, their corner, and they got John Mechie, the trade they did with the Eagles. And Mechie actually has looked pretty good the last couple games. He's caught some touchdowns. A.D. Mitchell has been okay. The drops have kind of been a problem. But, you get Garrett Wilson back. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, it's a young receiving core. I mean, obviously the Jets are going to probably address it in the draft, and who knows what else they're going to do. But I don't know. I mean, maybe the Jets have something with those two guys. And Breece Hall had a costly fumble in the red zone, but look, he's there. Him and Garrett Wilson are the faces of that offense. The faces of the team right now. It was good that they didn't trade. Well, they weren't going to trade Garrett Wilson, but I know there was talk that they could trade Breece. But they kept Breece around. They're going to pay him, and he's going to be their running back for the foreseeable future. It is what it is with that. So I don't know. Look, the biggest thing for the Jets is you got to find the right quarterback. and then maybe you start to make some real progress. But I don't know. There's maybe before they get obviously the quarterback's a big thing, but I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of optimism, a little bit in the direction that the team is going in. But I don't know. With the Jets, it's hard to put optimism and the Jets in the same sentence because things don't pan out. The quarterback is the huge thing. They have to figure that out. They have to. But yeah, so they end up losing to the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Patriots. Patriots pick up another win. They improve to 10-2. They are the number 1 seed currently in the AFC. They have a light schedule to finish up the season. They do play the Bills one more time. But yeah, they pretty much, I mean, they're in the driver's seat for the AFC East. And if they get the number 1 seed, that's big. I mean, it's like, hey, is Tom Brady playing again? No, it's Drake May. Drake May's playing really good football. It was not the cleanest football game for them. The Bengals hung around. May turned the ball over. But they got the win, and the Bengals will be getting Joe Burrow back on Thanksgiving. He will be back. Now, they will be without T. Higgins. He suffered a concussion in the game on Sunday against the Patriots. But Joe Burrow is going to be back. Jamar Chase is going to be back. And the last time Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase faced the Bengals on Thursday night last year, Jamar Chase had 3 touchdowns. So, we'll see. But I don't think the Bengals are going anywhere. I don't. We'll see. You know, if they run the table. I mean, they ran the table last year and they didn't make it. So, and I just feel like this year they're really far behind. So, they're behind the Jaguars, who picked up a win against the Cardinals, overtime win. Trevor Lawrence, turnovers continue to be an issue for him, but hey, the Jags are still able to get the win, and they got a chance at that AFC South. They do over the Cardinals. So the Cardinals lose again. The Texans-Bills game, yeah, I mean, look, the Texans picked up another win. They made life hard on Josh Allen. I think they sacked him, 8 times? And there was at one point I thought Josh Allen was really hurt because he was writhing in pain. He was on the ground for a little bit, but he was able to get back up and walk off and continue to play in the game. And the Bills, they were able to execute the hook and ladder play on 4th and 27 late, and you thought, are they going to pull off a win here? And then Allen ended up throwing an incompletion to end the game. But yeah, the Bills got some issues. The Texans, look, you get Stroud back, you got a shot. You got a shot at the division with the games coming up, and you got a shot at maybe sneaking into the playoffs. As long as you got that defense, which continues to play really well, with Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, Stingley. I mean, they got a good defense, and I give DeMeco Ryans a lot of credit. I mean, this team started off 0-3. You thought, yep, this team is done, and then they've been able to rally, and even with their franchise quarterback C.J. Stroud being out, they've won 3 straight games with Davis Mills, and one of the games was against the Jaguars, a comeback win where they scored 26 points in the 4th quarter. So they're not going away yet. Bills, they're taking on the Steelers, like I said. They have not looked great the last couple weeks, but the Steelers could be a get-right game for them. I am kind of leaning towards the Bills winning that game. We'll see. And then last night's game, you had the Panthers and the 49ers. Brock Purdy had 3 interceptions. Bryce Young had a couple. Yeah, Purdy still doesn't look right. I had him in fantasy. I needed him to score 12 points to secure a win, and he was not able to do that. So I ended up losing a huge game in my main fantasy league. So that was not good. But main reason is, Bryce Young still turned the ball over. Did make a nice throw to Ted McMillan for a touchdown. But Christian McCaffrey and that defense, they were the driving force for the 49ers last night. McCaffrey touched the ball 30 times. I mean, he's been unbelievable this year. And, healthy Christian McCaffrey changes everything for the Niners. But, I think this is still a team that's not as, they're another team, not as loaded as they have been in years past. And, I just think that they're another team that, they make it, they're not going to go that far. So, but, ugly performance by Brock Purdy. And now they're taking on the Browns in Cleveland, and that was, a team that they played in Cleveland a couple years ago when they were really good, and they lost. P.J. Walker was starting, and now they're taking them on again. Team's not as loaded. That defense is going to give Brock Purdy some problems on Sunday. And speaking of the Browns, Shedeur Sanders, first career start, picked up the win against the Raiders. Did some good things. He had a very nice throw down the field to Isaiah Bond. Didn't really have to do much because, the Raiders just aren't very good. And you had Myles Garrett in that defense just getting to Geno Smith all game long. But you know what? Got the win. Got his first career win, first NFL start, and he's going to be the starter going forward. And let's see what he brings to the table down the stretch here. I think he does give them more than Dillon Gabriel. I think he showed that he's got a better arm than Dillon Gabriel. So we'll see what he has. I'm not going to say he wowed everybody in his debut. He did, in his first start, because he did play the week before that. And kind of got thrown in a tough spot. But, not to say it was a complete bust. Like I said, he made some good plays, and they got the win. He did what he was supposed to do. So now let's see what he does down the stretch here. If the Browns have something. Because Dillon Gabriel I think, got cleared from concussion protocol. But they're still going to go with Shedeur going forward. So, yeah, Browns 49ers next week. We'll see what happens there. Kirk Cousins stepped back into the starting quarterback role. Got a win against the Saints. Had a nice throw to Darnell Mooney for a touchdown. Falcons improved to 4-7. Michael Penix is now on IR with a knee injury. And, the Falcons are Falcons got a problem there. If they put a lot of stock in Penix, and if he ends up not being the guy, and he ends up, dealing with this, he continues to deal with these knee problems. I mean, that's an issue. And Kirk Cousins, I don't know what the future holds for him. I think he wants to continue to play. I mean, continues to play well. He gives himself some value. Maybe a team wants to pick him up next year if the Falcons want to part ways. We'll see. But Falcons improved to 4-7, and then that is pretty much it. I think we pretty much covered every game. Like I said, I'm gonna do a special episode with the Thanksgiving games. Try to get back to doing picks again, giving you guys my picks, even though my picks have not been great against the spread. But this is where we're at. So actually, we'll go through the standings quickly. So in both conferences, we'll start off with the AFC. So the Patriots have the number 1 seed. Broncos are behind them, coming off of a bye. They're 9-2. Colts are 8-3. They're the 3 seed currently. The Ravens are the 4. Now take over. Now the Steelers and them are both 6-5, but Ravens have the tiebreaker. But Steelers have an opportunity. They play the Steelers. They play the Ravens twice to reclaim that. Then you got the Chargers occupying the first wild card. Jaguars are the second wild card, and the Bills now are the 7 seed at 7-4. So how about that? So if the playoffs started today, they'd be going to Denver to take on the Broncos. Yikes! So it's the opposite of last year, because last year the Bills were the 2 seed, the Broncos were the 7. They had to go to Buffalo. Now it would be the opposite. So Broncos could get revenge there. And then you still got the Chiefs, the Texans, and the Steelers, all 6-5, still trying to get themselves back in it. And those are 3 teams that I had making the playoffs. So we'll see if anything changes. And then in the NFC, Rams are the 1, Eagles are the 2, the Bears are the 3 at 8-3. And you gotta, again, this game on Friday is going to be huge, because Bears win, then they pass the Eagles, and they're the number 2 seed all of a sudden. Bucks are the 4 seed at the moment. The Seahawks are the 5th seed. Packers are the 6th seed, and the Niners are the 7th. You got the Lions a half game out. The Panthers are 2 games. Cowboys are 2 games. But yeah, I think it's going to come down to either the Lions or the 49ers, or and the Packers for those last 2 wild card spots. I don't think the Panthers are making it. I think the Bucks will still figure figure out a way to get in. I mean, the Bucs take on the Cardinals, they take on the Saints, Falcons, Panthers twice, Dolphins. I'm not going to say all those games are gimmies, but I'm still riding with the Bucs to win the NFC South. But that's pretty much it, everybody. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of their week. Continue to, put out content for you guys. I know we've been kind of lacking as of late, but we're going to try to get back to a normal thing. I know I keep saying that, but I'm trying to stick to my word. But as always, everybody, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the video and to the channel. Make sure to follow us on the social media platforms in the description below. And wherever you get your podcast, you can listen to us as well. Just look up Infinite Sports and you'll find us there. And until next time, everybody, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder signing off. Have a good one. Talk to you guys next time. Take care.